Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. Happy Reading to Write Sunday. I'm out of the shower. I'm starting my afternoon. I thought I was going to be going to the beach and reading, but it looks like I'll be going to the beach and reading this evening. Well, maybe not this evening, in a couple of hours, kind of doing the dinner thing around the beach. Because in my house with 3 children, so I'm really saying this for you, for all of us, in my house with 3 children, it looks like a freaking bomb went off. You know, it's really funny. I have 2 teenagers, right? 16 and 14. And I was laughing. They were not laughing. I was saying to them, oh my gosh, I can't wait till you guys go back to school because I get my life back. I get my life back. And they're like, yeah, Mom, you get 10 months of your life. We get 2 months of our life and we're not in school. For those 10 months you get your life, we lose ours. And it totally made me laugh just to kind of see it from their perspective, right? Now, of course, when they go back to school, I actually lose 2 hours a day because from 6:30 to 8:30 in the summer, which is really kind of golden time for me during the school year, is now time I'm getting kids out the door. But it doesn't matter because once they're out the door, nobody's home. And my house doesn't get messy. Hillary, I see you join me. I'm speaking your mom pain right now. And what I'm talking about is that I thought I was going to come home with Cedar this morning and, maybe make some brunch or something and then go to the beach and read for 3 hours. But it turns out no. Because if I do that, then I'm going to have to start my Monday with bomb gone off house. And there's just, not that I'm a neat freak. Trust me, I am not a neat freak. I just I can't really rest when a bomb's gone off in my house. So I'm going to spend a couple of hours cleaning my house because now my big kids are off to school, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to spend my evening at the beach, maybe with a bottle of wine and a book, and I'm going to slip away this evening and let people fend for themselves for dinner. I'll do the cleaning, and then my sort of payoff is I'm going to slip away. So why am I telling you this? Because regular life is kind of dull. Regular life, the next thing, the to-do list, the task list, the gotta do is kind of boring, and yet it's also very much a part of our life. It's kind of the chop wood, carry water part of our life. Could I just, slip away to the beach and read for 3 hours and then come back? Yeah, I could. But for myself, to go slip away now and come back to a, gong show, bomb went off house would actually take apart all those 3 hours of my slip awayness. So for me, in my own rhythm, putting a few hours in first so I can really take that time is how I slip away. So I'm telling you this because I want you to think for you. How do you slip away? There is absolutely something to be said about getting out of Dodge no matter what's going on and just going to the beach or going to the hammock or going for a nap or hiding in the bathtub or hiding in the shower or wherever you need to hide to get away from it. Trust me, I've done that too. And that might be where you are today. Wherever you are today, whatever you need to slip away, do that. Because I actually want you to rewrite the narrative of slipping away to slipping in to yourself. If we don't nurture who we are on the inside, the writer inside of us gets smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So we're looking through a little keyhole instead of having the door wide open. And you can call it self-care. It is self-care. It's a version of self-care for sure, but it's really creativity care. It's the vessel care. It's the vehicle. It is imagination care. It is creativity care. It's heart care, self-care. So I want you to check in today and figure out, what do you need to do, generally speaking, to escape the madness of chop wood, carry water and slip in to yourself? Sometimes you hear Meribeth and I talk about it as emergent play. that emergent play is that thing that emerges out of us when we're actually not thinking about what we're doing. We're in something so much that our creativity just slips out of us. And reading a book is like slipping into, I don't know much about brain work. I actually know a little bit, but not all of the terminology. I want to say, and I could be wrong about this, this might not be the right term, but there's something about reading that I think slips our brain out of, is it beta, into theta, which is a very meditative quality. And in that meditative quality, that's where we can slip in even more and let that creativity come out. So, hey Nadine. Oh, how lovely to see you, Nadine. Joining us all the way from Australia. So, I don't know what time it is now. I'm post-shower time on a Sunday. Right now it's Monday where you are. I think it's Monday morning where you are. So you must be catching me as you start your day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We were just talking about what it takes to slip away, which is I want you to actually consider rewriting the narrative of slipping away to slipping in. Slipping into yourself. What do you need to do to slip in? And there's something about reading, giving ourselves, doing what we need to do in our day to make time to slip into a book, so that as we slip into a book, we actually connect to our creative self. So we slip in order to slip away. And I was acknowledging the very real facts, like the reality. Judith is with us too. Hello, Judith. I'm so glad you're here. We're just talking about the very reality of what it looks like to have a life, and like a full life of obligations, of even choices. They're not even like have to obligations, they're choose to obligations, and what it means to slip in order to slip away. Reading connects to that meditative part of our brain where we're in that emergent play space, but we're actually not, there's no effort. We're in it, and it's like reading opens up that portal for us, for our creativity to show up in pictures in our brain, and it's like it's nourishment, it's brain food for us. And so today on day 3 of our very soft boot camp, in fact, Meribeth and I were thinking that next summer we're going to call it flip-flop boot camp, summer flip-flop boot camp, not boot camp, summer flip-flop camp, and just because it's much looser, right? So what do you need to do today is my question. What do you need to do today in order to slip in, lovely, in order to slip in so that you can slip away? You can nourish your brain, nourish your creativity, nourish your writer's heart, nourish your writer's well, and really feed that well, so that when you have that, when you've carved out that time to actually have output, there's something to output from, that you've spent time feeding your bank of creativity, so when it's time to put out onto the page, there's something to withdraw from. Knowing that real life happens, and how do you want to structure your day? Are you someone today that needs to just get out of Dodge and say, forget the rest of you, I'm going to the beach, I'm going to the hammock, I'm going for a nap, I'm hiding in my car, I'm going to the bathtub to read? Or are you where I am right now, where if you recognize, if I don't put a couple hours in cleaning up this crazy house of mine with these crazy children of mine, that I'm actually not going to be able to relax? Oh, I'm glad you like that, Judith. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, slip in to slip away. I'll come back to you tonight. Oh, I didn't talk about this. I want to talk about the 2. Oh my goodness, my kids have brought me something. Show us what have you brought? Show everybody what you brought, Cedar. And Shoji. Okay, so we have Jello on a plate.
We literally took it out of the thing.
Yes.
And
what'd you do? And you're gonna eat it now.
Yeah, we flipped it over so we didn't.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go eat it. I'm going to tell them about one of my favorite books that totally swept me away. I can think of, now, I'm actually not someone who reads a lot of fiction, because I don't give myself permission, oddly enough, to kind of feed that creativity piece of me. At this stage of my life, I'm in high productivity right now. So when I do find a piece of fiction that really grabs me, boy, oh boy, I remember it, and I usually hold on to the book. So I have 2 books I can think of. One of them is actually from a Canadian author, Anne-Marie MacDonald. If you ever watch The Doc Zone on CBC, she is the narrator. She's the host of Doc Zone. I had no idea that she did media work. I just thought she was a writer. Just a writer. Ha ha ha. Did you hear me just say that? I can't believe I just said that. Oh, Judith, you have 2 boys too? Holy Dinah. So I hear your pain, sister. I hear your pain and your joy. I have a 16-year-old, 14-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So it's like, Stinky Sockville over here all the time. Okay, so Anne-Marie MacDonald's called Fall on Your Knees. And what usually captivates me in a book is a book that has high stakes, that has a lead that's either a woman who is like finding her courage, standing in her courage, or a man who is finding his philosophical self. Those are usually my two favorite characters. Hi, Kim. Glad you're here. Those are usually my two favorite characters in a novel. And I don't read a lot of novels. I just don't spend a lot of time reading, fiction. But that's what grabs me. Okay, so two main characters. Fall on Your Knees is one book that just like totally got me, because it has all these there's almost like a whole other there's like real life going on, and there's some sort of spiritual life going on, and she's standing in her courage, and it was a page turner for me. So that's one book. And it's one of those big thick books, like, oh boy, when I got into that one, forget it. That was it for me for a couple of weeks. So that was a slip away. And then I read this book, Captain Corelli's Mandolin. And this, if you looked at our reading to write prompt today, remember how I said, was it today or yesterday, that some books actually take some effort on our part before they take us away. So this book was one of those books. I had to have patience. I had to trust that the person who gave it to me knew me well enough to say, yep, this is a book to read for you. And I had to dig in past, honestly, like the first 20% of the book, I was like, oh, really? Oh, I don't know. I think this person's wrong. And then all of a sudden I was like, that's it, man. I am in. And remember how I said two main characters for me, courageous women or philosophical men. Those are my two favorite characters. And this was that sort of philosophical man and woman. And it's got a romance in it too. Don't watch the movie. It totally sucks. Okay, don't bother. But the book is beautiful. So today's talk was about regular life happens. Chop wood, carry water. What do you got to do to slip in so you can slip away? And remembering that reading is like nourishment for our brain, for our creative self. It like connects our soul self. I talk about the four sets of alignment, 4 engines of alignment: mindset, soul set, skill set, and body. And when we read, we're actually connecting our soul set with our skill set. Okay, so we nourish our soul so that our skill set, when we do sit down to write, we're withdrawing from a bank account that is already overflowing. So thanks for tuning in today. This is our video on day 3 of our soon-to-be called flip-flop camp, summer flip-flop camp instead of boot camp, which we'll do in the fall, and read to write. Glad you were here, Judith. Glad you're here. Nice to see you, Kim. Nice to see you, Hillary. And nice to see you, Nadine, all the way from Australia. Have a wonderful Sunday or Monday, depending on what time zone you're in, and keep reading. We have one more day tomorrow, and I encourage you to write. Oh, Judith, I'm so glad that you tuned in and that you needed this. Keep going. Write, and as Meribeth said, write, read, research. 3 main things to writing and being fulfilled and really hitting the page well. Okay, enjoy your day. Much love to you. Mwah. Bye, everybody.